Shabbat Shalom. Every once in a while, I hear someone say something like this. The nice thing about Judaism is that you can believe whatever you want. And whatever I hear that, I have two reactions. My first is, I do know what you mean. There's something wonderfully true beneath that statement. Judaism has never been afraid of questions. Open a page of Talmud, and you do not find one authoritative voice telling you what to think. You find an argument. Rabbi Akiva says this, Rabbi Yishmael says that. Someone raises an objection, answers it. Jewish tradition understands that no human being possesses the whole of divine truth. There's a beautiful midrash about the broken tablets. The first tablets Moses shattered at the foot of Mount Sinai. The rabbis teach that they were not discarded, but they were placed and gathered in the ark alongside the second set of tablets, which were whole. And the reason for this, it's a beautiful image, wholeness and brokenness traveling together, but it's also a reminder of that larger truth, which is that we may hold only one fragment of something so much larger than ourselves, that nobody possesses the full truth. Judaism certainly contains an enormous diversity of belief. Jews have disagreed about God, revelation, miracles, providence, the Messiah, resurrection, the world to come. Judaism is also not a religion, primarily a religion in which membership depends upon affirming faith in a particular person or a particular way. We are a covenanted people, an extended family bound together by history, practice, memory, obligation, and destiny. And so when someone says in Judaism you can believe whatever you want, I do understand where they're coming from, but I also have a second reaction, which is not exactly. Because while Judaism gives us tremendous room to question what we believe, our tradition has also understood something important, which is that what we believe matters because what we believe helps make us who we are. There's a strange example at the end of this week's Torah portion. The Torah commands first, you shall not have in your bag two kinds of weights, a large one and a small one. In the ancient marketplace, merchants used to use weights to determine how much a customer was buying. A dishonest merchant could keep two sets, a fair weight when it served him and a fraudulent weight, a fraudulent one when he could get away with it. And the Torah says, don't do that. Even shlema v'tzedek, you should have complete and honest sets of weights. But then immediately after, the Torah goes into another mitzvah, zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek, remember that which Amalek did to you. Suddenly, we've moved from cheating someone in the marketplace to a commandment about Amalek, the nation that attacked Israel from behind, preying upon the weak and exhausted. And the rabbis ask the question, what do these two things have to do with each other? The term being smichut parshiot. And Rashi notices the juxtaposition and suggests that dishonesty with weights somehow leaves us vulnerable to Amalek. It's an interesting statement. The Netziv, Rabbi Naftali Tzvi Yehuda of Berlin, points out that you can't take Rashi's comment literally because when Amalek attacked Israel, the Israelites had just left Egypt. They were wandering through the desert. They weren't running stones or cheating customers with false weights. There were no marketplaces that we know of that were in the desert. And so the Netziv says you have to read Rashi metaphorically, that what Rashi is saying is the Torah is interested not only in the dishonest weight, it's interested in what is happening inside the person who uses it. Imagine the merchant has two weights hidden in his bag, and while people are watching, uses the honest one, but when he thinks nobody will notice, he switches them. And according to the Netziv, this reveals something very important about what he believes. He does not really believe that God sees what he does. He doesn't trust that his livelihood can be secured without taking advantage of someone else. For the netziv, the dishonest weight is not simply a business crime. It's a theological statement. And here is where I think his insight remains powerful, even if we don't share precisely his understanding of divine providence. Beliefs don't just stay in our heads. Eventually, they make their way into our hands. And what we believe about God changes how we behave towards others. The Malbim, another 19th century commentator, makes a similar observation. A thief who breaks into a house at night is afraid of human beings, but apparently not afraid of God. Waits until nobody is watching, and then goes about his dishonest business. And the person who cheats with weights does the same thing. Both say through their behavior, what matters is whether another person can see me. For these rabbis, a failure of faith becomes a failure of ethics. The Malbim goes one step further. He worries that the behavior of one Jew can damage an entire Jewish community. We do not live only as individuals. What I do affects the community to which we belong. And that is why I want to push back a little gently this morning against the idea that Judaism says that you can simply believe whatever you want and that it doesn't matter. Of course, you can question, we should question, and we should doubt, and none of us possesses the whole truth, but it doesn't mean that our beliefs are inconsequential. Think about one of the simplest Jewish beliefs, that God is the creator and sustainer of the world. Someone planted wheat, someone harvested, someone drove the truck, someone stacked the grocery store shelf, someone cooked dinner, and we should be grateful to every one of those people. But Judaism asks us to go a step further. Before we put bread into our mouths, we will say in a few minutes, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We will bless God who brings bread from the earth. I've never seen a field full of bread. We, of course, acknowledge the human role in bringing all of that about. But by saying the blessing, we are remembering that we didn't make the soil. We didn't create rain. We didn't design the extraordinary processes by which a tiny seed placed into dirt becomes something that can sustain human life. The blessing reminds me that however hard I work, I am also the recipient of gifts that I did not create. These beliefs can help us to be more grateful people. And if I really believe those things and practice believing it, maybe I'll become a little bit less entitled, a little bit more aware of how many people helped me and continue at every moment help me to be who I am. Belief is not only about explaining the world, it's about forming the person who lives in it. This month is Elul. It's a time when we should examine our behavior. We should ask ourselves questions. Whom have I hurt? To whom do I owe an apology? What habits do I need to change? What relationships need repair? But maybe there is another set of questions underneath. What do I believe? Do I really believe that every person is created b'tselem Elohim, in God's image? And if I do, can anyone tell from the way that I speak about people with whom I disagree? Do I believe that what I possess is entirely mine, or do I experience it as a sort of gift? Do I believe that my actions matter even when nobody else sees them? Do I believe that I'm responsible only for myself, or that I belong to a community where other people's welfare is my responsibility? Do I believe that people can change and allow myself and others forgiveness? These are theological questions, and they are also Elul questions. We don't have to stop asking questions. You don't have to eliminate every doubt. You don't have to pretend to possess the whole tablets when all any of us has is a fragment. But we should care deeply about what we believe, because eventually what is hidden in the heart finds its way into the weights we carry in our bags. The blessings we say over bread, the words we use about other people, the lives that we lead. As Rosh Hashanah approaches, we ask ourselves what we want to do differently in the year ahead, and maybe this Elul we can go one layer deeper. What would I need to believe in order to become the person I want to be and the person that God needs me to be in the year to come? Shabbat Shalom.